Greetings and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. It's your host, Citizen AY, and thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. How do you do that, you might ask? Here's what you need to do. Go ahead, click the subscription button, click notification button, give us a thumbs up, and help us reach more people. Remember, give us the thumbs up. When you do that, we get to reach more people with our broadcast. So go ahead, click it now. Thank you very much. Welcome once again. Okay, this is specific to Nigeria, and we're talking about the lawmakers, i.e. the Senate. There's been a lot of controversy going on in the Senate, principally between Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, I think it is. I hope I'm saying it right. And Senate President Akpabio. Senate President, apparently, from what Natasha Akpoti said, was sexually harassing her for, to treat him nice so she can get anything she wanted. That is the alleged. That is what she alleged. Instead of this being investigated properly, the Senate promptly suspended her for 6 months. So she's gone to the IPU to report this. She's almost, you'll hear she's almost in tears. Now, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know. I'm not taking sides. But what I do know is that there is a culture of impunity in our governance in Nigeria. Let us not kid ourselves. Those who make the laws, they are the ones who break the laws, and the laws are not meant for them. They are meant for the people that they are meant to be serving, not them. That's the reality of it, and that's why I keep saying, you will hear me on my platform. I always talk about this. The people must participate in our governance. If you are using your Bible and your Quran and you're going to the church and the mosque and you're filling those places up, you are leaving a huge space, a huge expanse for these politicians who are there to serve you, to treat you badly, to oppress you, to carry out corruption, to do things with impunity. You need to be watching them. Our role as citizens is not only to be a citizen of Nigeria, a patriot, but a patriot is somebody that actually holds the government to account. If they want you to be patriotic, you need to be holding them to account. That is the definition of what it means to be patriotic. You're beginning to participate in your governance and hold them to account to make sure that they are to order, because they stick to the laws of the land and they are not operating above the laws of the land. That means that you as a citizen, you exercise your sovereignty. Under section 14.2a, it states, and I quote, "Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority." Once again, I'm going to say it to you again, section 14.2a. Go and look at it in the section 14.2a of the 1999 constitution. Yes, we know it's fraudulent, but until we change it, it's all we got. We have to start using it. The church and the mosque, they never tell you any of this. I need you to wake up. Every single African, hear me, and Nigerian, hearing me. Every single Nigerian hearing me. You need to start participating in your governance. Don't be a bystander. The churches and the mosques are meant to distract you from the reality of what is going on. You need to hold your governance to account. That is your duty, your number one duty. If you are going to be patriotic, it means that you begin to participate in your governance and hold them to account. To fix your roads, your water, your light, your schools, your bridges, your healthcare, your safety, your security. The Bible and the Quran, they don't care about your safety and security. They just want you occupied, to occupy your mind, so that those who are in governance, who are carrying out corruption with impunity, they continue to get away with it. It's time to wake up. So, like I said, now I'm going to translate that section 14.2 into Yoruba. I know the Yoruba. We want it. It should be in our local languages. This should be Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Ishon, Efik, Ibibio. All of our language, people in our communities, in the villages, they need to know these key sections in their language so that they can begin to participate in holding the governance to account. And we'll have to show them that process also. So, 14.2a in Yoruba goes like this. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ìgbà gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. So that is what I need you to remember as a Yoruba person. There's also the same thing in Igbo, it's in Hausa, in all of that. And I've shown it before on here. I'm not good at speaking Igbo or Hausa, but I do know Yoruba. So I'm going to say this 14-2A again in Yoruba. Abarake and Laisekije a sọ pé ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ níjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. It is important that our people in the communities knows these powers in their local language so they can exercise it. You cannot exercise powers that you don't know. It is as simple as that. We need to wake up. Now, so please memorize that. I will come and be doing a separate section where we're going to be looking at those words in local languages specifically. And we've got a training program in place that we want stakeholders that are going to go into those communities to actually enlighten the people to know their rights so they can, from within their own community, begin to hold their governance to account. The illusion they create is that once you vote, that's the end of the matter. No, as a patriot, you must participate in your governance by holding your governance accountable to you and your community collectively. So, like I said, 14.2A in Euro 14.2C goes on to state that the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Let me say that again, 14.2C. Rememorize this in English and in Yoruba and in other languages. States, the participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. And in Yoruba, it goes like this. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè. Which simply means that you have the power and authority to hold your governance to account. That's why it talks about its sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through its constitution, derives its powers and authority. So the power and the authority is derived from you. The government is borrowing those powers from you. You need to start exercising it to hold them accountable. How do you do that? By participating in the government. Because you are a sovereign, you have the powers to participate. You are a sovereign, Obalade, and you have power, Agbara. That is what you have, and your community must begin to harness that power. The more you stand together in your community, the stronger that power becomes to hold your governance to account. That's what must happen. We are strongly advocating for that. Enough of this Bible and Quran nonsense. Wake up from that nonsense. They are there to blind you. Wake up. Okay. Now let us listen to Natasha Akpoti. It just shows, this whole debacle shows the impunity in the system, and rightly she's taking them to court. The thing is, I firmly believe that the Senate President should have stepped aside and allowed the process to go on through rather than trying to impose something. This is like a rubber stamping exercise, and it just makes us see the flaws, the deep flaws in the so-called Constitution of Nigeria. It needs to be reviewed, but obviously to do that you have to start participating locally in your local language. That's what we advocate for. Let us proceed. Here we go. Let's listen to her statement to IPU. I'm not quite sure what that body stands for in full, but I'll try and get that afterwards. Apologies. Please don't forget, subscribe to Citizen AOI. Go ahead. Subscribe to Citizen AOI. Hit the notification button, give a thumbs up, and help us reach more people. With that said, let us now proceed. Don't forget, give us the thumbs up. The more you give us a thumbs up, the more our broadcast reaches more people. We need your help. Please join us, subscribe, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. Thank you very much. Here we go.
From Nigeria, but first I'd like to apologize to Honorable Kafila Obara. I am not here to bring shame to our country. I'm here to seek help for the women of Nigeria. Again, my name is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. 5 days ago, on the 6th of March 2025, I was suspended. As a senator, I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself, and both of us will submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition for a fair and transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended. I was suspended for 6 months, amongst many other stringent conditions, such as taking away my security, taking away all the officials, vehicles, and other items that were handed over to me as a senator. My salaries will be cut off. I must not appear anywhere near the National Assembly. And for 6 months, I'm not to introduce myself or present myself as a senator locally in Nigeria or internationally. That means I'm here illegally, but I have no other place to go but to come here and speak to you women, because this is a bigger picture. This is a bigger picture. It depicts the crisis of women political representation. My suspension is not just about me. It's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. Women make up 3.6% of political offices, and in the Senate, it's just 2.8. We have 109 men, and only 4 of us are women. So right now, it's 108 with only 3 women. This is a clear case of political victimization, punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. The United Nations Declaration 48/104 declares sexual harassment as a form of gender violence. The Senate's actions are an assault on democracy. I was elected by my constituents to represent them, yet a few powerful men have unilaterally decided to silence their voices by suspending me for 6 months. My call for an open and transparent investigation into harassment allegations have been met with hostility instead of accountability. If a female senator can be treated this way in the full view of the world, imagine what ordinary Nigerian women would go through every day in workplaces, in universities, and other aspects of our society. A culture of harassment and silencing must end. And this is not just a Nigerian issue, it's a global one. Women in politics, media, and businesses face threats, intimidation, and violence for simply demanding fairness. From sex for grades scandals in universities to harassment in workplaces and political spaces, Nigerian women have constantly been forced into silence. We need stronger legal protections and a zero culture tolerance for gender-based discrimination and intimidation. My call to the international community is such that the world must not stay silent as democracy and women's rights are rolled back in Nigeria. I call on human rights organizations, women movements, and democratic institutions to hold the Nigerian Senate accountable. Nigeria needs global partners to push for women's political inclusion, safety, and protection from political harassment. You may ask, what are my next steps? I will resist the political intimidation. In the past few days, a number of my colleagues, my male colleagues, have reached out to me and said, Natasha, all you need to do is apologize and retract your statements. And I told them I am not going to apologize. I will not apologize for my truth. And I told them that I will stand the 6-month suspension, and the very first day I return, I will represent my petition on sexual harassment. And I will continue doing so until there is a fair and transparent investigation. I will fight this injustice and continue to represent my constituents, whether the Senate wants to hear me or not. I will work with women's groups, civil society, and legal teams to ensure that this unconstitutional suspension is quashed. This is bigger than me. This is about ensuring that no other woman in politics or public office will ever be silenced again. Thank you so much.
So, a powerful statement read by a very emotional Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Powerful statement. Several times there she was breaking down. Whether or not you agree with her is besides the point. One thing is for sure. Our so-called democracy, and I have strong reservations using that word. What is called a democracy in Africa is really a tool to control the people. We're not operating a real democracy in large parts of Africa. If we were operating a democracy, the system and the process would actually have cut out corruption and impunity right across Africa. You knew the reasons why Ibrahim Traore took office using intellectual realignment was he recognized that these structures that was put into Africa, they call it democracy, was actually tools designed to allow for the exploitation, oppression, and continuous subjugation of Africans on the African continent. That's the reality. So there we have differing thought processes. I can see what she's saying. She's in the system and she wants it to function. But what many of those who are honest, or some who are honest in that process, don't realize is that that system is not designed to be successful. They don't want to see those who impose those colonial systems that they now dress up as a democracy. They design it that way to facilitate their continuous extraction of our resources, preventing Africa to actually develop, and using all manner of systems, be it religious, be it political, be it financial, be it educational, to oppress and suppress, such that it's cleverly done. Many who are in the system, such as Natasha, don't fully understand that this is actually an oppressive system that must be brought down. We need to build structures that works and relies heavily on what our African ancestors did when they had those great kingdoms, the wall of the Benin kingdom, the walls that walled the entire kingdom, those who came, the colonials who came, marveled, and they were the first place where had street lighting at night, so you would know where you were going. Well before now, we're seeing that people are now talking about they're going to build clay houses. These are things that we've been doing for thousands of years. So it is important to understand as Africans that the structures that those who are clapping there, we need to be very careful. It is an opportunity in their eyes to deepen the divisions among us. So we have to play a smart game. We need our people. I think what I would suggest more importantly, and we need people like Natasha, and I'm going to try and get in touch with her, to help us deepen the knowledge of our rights and our local languages within our communities, because that is where the change will happen. It is not going to happen in these houses or in the offices. It's going to happen in the villages, and that is what we need. We have to wake up the mind of the people, knowing their powers in their local language, and critically how to use those powers to hold the government accountable. There is no accountability in the current democratic process, so-called democratic process, that is being operated across Africa, bar none. There is no accountability to the people, because the people have been conditioned to believe that they are being done a favor by those who are meant to serve them. So this is where we come with this idea of really having the constitution and everything that we're doing translated into local languages, so that the people can engage in that process. So it goes deeper than that. So for me, that's where I differ with Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and others, that what we need to do is to be courageous enough to connect and communicate with our people in our local languages, so let them know the powers they possess. Now they can now start controlling the government. The citizens, the farmers, the market women, the vulcanizers, all of those, they are stakeholders in the economy, and they've been prevented from using their powers as stakeholders, as sovereigns, to hold the government to account, because the constitution has been written in foreign languages they can understand, thereby preventing them from actively holding the government account. Now we're trying to make that available, and I hope that people like Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan will join us in that struggle to deepen that, because we need those who are committed to seeing their people have water, light, roads, schools, bridges, healthcare, safety and security, very much like Natasha is doing from what the work she's doing in Kogi. I think it's Kogi Central. We need them to be on board in this struggle. This is going to be a long struggle. The more our people know their rights, they will take the action themselves, and that's the point we need to get to. Right now, our people don't know their rights, so they cannot fight for themselves. So the first thing is to educate them in their local language about those rights. And I do hope that Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and others like her, who are committed to see the people in developing their own community, will give them the power to begin to exercise those powers of sovereignty that they can use to hold every governance from the local to state to federal level accountable and effective through monthly town hall meetings. So there is a lot of steps that we need to take in this process, and I do hope many of you will help us in realizing that it's gonna be it's a hard slog, to be honest, because many of those who are in the governance now, they want the people to remain in the dark so that they can continue to have corruption without a prosecution. They can, so that the aim is to be able to continue to be corrupt without them facing any prosecution. And the only way that can happen is time and time again to put the people in a situation whereby they don't understand the laws that they're being governed by. It is important we exercise that, we explain that to our people in the local languages. Like I said, we will watch and see what update comes following the discussion that Natasha Akpabio, the meeting here, and she stood up and spoke for not just herself but women. But what we do need is, it is clear that our process of governance is not functioning, and I really think as Africans we need to devise our own. Let me tell you something. President Ibrahim Traore, he has passed a law in the whole of Burkina Faso. They no longer wear colonial era gowns, George gowns and wigs and all that. They wear African made attire, our cap and all of that, and it is a way of taking back control. That's what we need. The system that is going to be used to govern us has to be designed by us. The system of governance that's being used to govern Africans has not been created by Africans. Please understand that. That's the change we need to make. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this? You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. For now, please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY. Subscribe to Citizen AY. Hit the notification button. Give us a thumbs up and help us reach more people. It's a pleasure having you join us. Please do go and download my song, How Long Una Go Suffer, that you're hearing in the background, and help us reach more people. Go to Spotify. It's called How Long Una Go Suffer. It's on Spotify, on iTunes. Download it there. Help this platform grow. We really appreciate your support. I'm about Thank you, and bye for now.